Owned and operated, Excel Custom Decks uses the finest materials and products and combines that with superior craftsmanship. If you want your outdoor area to shine this summer, contact Excel Custom Decks now. Whatever you dream up for that perfect deck, pergola, or outdoor kitchen, Rob and his family can build it. Excel Custom Decks, decking excellence by design. Visit excelcustomdecks.com today.
When you breathe well, you live better. Find out more at adventknows.com.
Ah, the city of brotherly love. Hope you don't mind if we add to the chaos.
Jackson Churio, driven, left center. See you later.
Our Brewers-Phillies coverage starts tonight at 5:10. We are the home of the Brewers. News Radio 620 WTMJ, Milwaukee.
Good morning. 10 o'clock, we have 65 degrees in Milwaukee. It's going to be mostly sunny, breezy, hazy today with scattered afternoon, evening showers and storms. High today, 75. From the WTMJ Breaking News Center, I'm Connie Weber. The Supreme Court ruled today President Trump can terminate the protected status of around 500,000 immigrants from Cuba, Haiti, Nicaragua, and Venezuela, pending the outcome of an appeal of the president's order. President Trump, on his first day back in the White House, ordered the Department of Homeland Security to terminate all so-called categorical parole programs, which had granted those immigrants protections from deportation from the United States. Lawyers for Milwaukee County Judge Hannah Dugan have filed a memorandum arguing her federal prosecution is not allowed based on what they say is 4 centuries of legal precedent. They argue Dugan, accused of helping an undocumented immigrant evade ICE agents at the courthouse, has absolute immunity for official acts in her courtroom, and she cannot be charged for them. Court is back in session. Day 4 of the homicide trial for Maxwell Anderson getting underway this morning around 8:45. Testimony thus far focusing on where Sade Robinson's remains were found.
You located a total of 3 separate pieces of human remains, correct?
Yes, that is correct.
First witness called to the stand, Milwaukee Police Detective Casey Donahue. He was one of the first responders to find some of Robinson's remains close to a playground near her burned-out vehicle near 31st and Lisbon on the city's north side.
The smaller piece of flesh was approximately 2 by 2 inches. The larger piece of flesh was approximately 6 by 6 inches.
Here's 138. What is that cone down there?
That's going to be evidence marker number 11.
And do you know what number 11 was?
Yes, number 11 was a human foot.
Defense attorney Julius Kim has been in the courtroom this week, tells WTMJ he can see the jury get more invested in the trial.
There was a lot of physical evidence that was presented to the jury, and jurors love that. That's kind of the stuff that you see on TV. There were clothes that were presented, partially burned items, pictures, and there were these dramatic moments where a detective's pulling jeans and underwear out of an evidence bag, and the jurors were riveted by looking at all those things.
Trial is expected to last about 2 weeks. New questions about government oversight of cryptocurrency. ABC's Aaron Kotursky has that story.
The Securities and Exchange Commission dropping its lawsuit against Binance, the world's largest crypto exchange, ending one of the last remaining crypto enforcement actions from the prior administration, which had accused Binance of mishandling customer money and other violations. Now, the dismissal comes days after Binance began listing USD1. This is a cryptocurrency launched by World Liberty Financial, the crypto firm started by President Trump's family.
President Trump accusing China of breaking a preliminary trade agreement. He posted on Truth Social this morning that China's violated the agreement, adding, "So much for being Mr. Nice Guy." Ahead of the 2025 Atlantic hurricane season, Florida Governor Ron DeSantis spoke at a Home Depot in Palm Beach County this morning, urging residents to prepare, and he's vowing to do more to combat power outages during severe weather.
One of the things that we really work hard on in Florida is working with our utilities, not just the big private utilities like the Florida Power and Light, but also the municipalities, the rural co-ops, everything to pre-stage as many resources as possible so that when the storm passes, people can work to have a rapid power restoration.
Hurricane season runs from June through the end of November. Those wildfires developing in Canada expected to impact us in southeast Wisconsin. Department of Natural Resources issuing an air quality alert for today. Storm Team 4 Chief Meteorologist Brian Niznansky says you'll definitely be able to notice the smoke, though he doesn't expect it to be as extreme as last year.
Last year we had just this weird pattern where we were able to scoop that wildfire smoke from the northeast, Quebec, Ontario, and work its way down towards us. I would be surprised if we had as consistent of a setup with the stream of smoke as we had last year. However, this could end up being a factor for the next couple months.
People with respiratory issues should limit outdoor activity today. The Lakefront Festival season begins this weekend at the Summerfest grounds.
Time to get your Italy on. Festa Italiana kicks off Milwaukee's 2025 Lakefront Festival season with 3 days of music, wonderful food. Gates open at 5 o'clock on the evening of May 30th. The event runs through 9 o'clock the evening of June 1st. The highlight on Saturday, a massive fireworks display around 10 o'clock. Greg Matzik, WTMJ News.
And free admission for kids under 12 who are with under 12 and under, that is, who are with an adult. Time for news about your money in the WTMJ Annex Wealth Management Market Update. Dow is down 38 points, Nasdaq down 78, S&P 500 down 13. Financial planning at every level, Annex Comprehensive Wealth, Annex Private Client, Annex Ignite. Details at annexwealth.com. Sports, traffic, and weather are next. Outdoor Living Unlimited, WTMJ News Time, 10:04.
If you're trying to get through your daily activities and you're noticing you can't because you're focusing more on your pain than being able to enjoy the moment, those are the patients that we're looking to treat because we can make a difference.
That's Dr. Ashley Caravelli, Milwaukee's medical director for QC Kinetics.
What we're doing at QC Kinetics is offering treatments that help with joint preservation. We use cutting-edge technology in our in-house lab to harness your body's natural healing powers and target the areas where you need them the most.
These are regenerative, non-surgical treatments, and QC Kinetics is the nation's leader, delivering lasting relief to tens of thousands of patients.
What we do know is that the sooner we start treatment, the sooner you'll see relief.
So don't wait another minute. See if you're a good candidate for these non-surgical treatments for joint pain. The consultation is completely free.
Weekend appointments available. Call now. 414-285-3474. That's 414-285-3474. 414-285-3474.
With the ability to market luxury homes on a higher scale than ever before, Century 21 Benefit Realty has taken a huge step forward to tap into a global network of buyers. Maximum exposure to spotlight your unique home with our fine homes and estates marketing so you can sell it for the highest price. And with no upfront fees and 1.9% real estate commission, you win. This is Angela Calais with Century 21 Benefit Realty, benefit-realty.com, where you pay less for full service. Each office is independently owned and operated. First off, our 1.9% commission structure helps get their foot in the door, and that's why agents like working here. But what they really like is having the strongest marketing tools available, with the resources to help them sell homes at the highest prices to satisfy their clients. Century 21 Benefit Realty offers what agents like most, and that's to help them be successful. If you really want to believe in the business model that you're representing, give me a call. I'm Angela Calais with Century 21 Benefit Realty. Call me, and let's talk about your future. Each office is independently owned and operated.
Time for a WTMJ Sports Update from the Gruber Law Office's One Call That's All Sports Desk. Brewers back on the road tonight. Milwaukee begins a road trip with the first of 3 games against the Phillies. Packers return to the field today for their final practice of the week. They begin mandatory minicamp on June 10th. And the second round of the U.S. Women's Open is underway at Erin Hills. Taking a look at the roads now with your WTMJ Time Saver traffic. A little bit of debris in the road that could prompt some lane closures. This is going to be I-43 North at Hampton Avenue East.
Traffic is sponsored by Capri Community's Enjoy Life Active Aging Symposium. Live life to the fullest at Capri's Enjoy Life Symposium on June 4th. This free event for older adults includes speakers, exhibitors, activities, and more. Register at enjoylifesymposium.com.
Here's your WTMJ 5-day forecast. Sunny, breezy, hazy today. Scattered afternoon and evening showers and storms. High 75, partly cloudy and 50 overnight. Sunny tomorrow, 64 lakeside, 73 inland. Sunny and nice on Sunday, upper 60s to mid 70s. Mostly sunny and warm on Monday, 79 lakeside, up to 83 inland. Partly cloudy, warm, breezy on Tuesday. A chance of storms late in the day. Highs 81 lakeside and 85 inland. 65 all around Madison, Green Bay, and Milwaukee. I'm Connie Weber. Outdoor Living Unlimited, WTMJ News Time, 10:08.
Broadcasting live from the Annex Wealth Management Studios at the Avenue. It's time for Point Taken. Here are your hosts, Steve Scaffidi and Kristin Brey.
Oh, happy Friday, everybody. Yes, it is that moment in the week when we sort of sum it all up with our guys, Bill McCoshen in studio.
Here I am.
2 weeks in a row. That's a good trend. And now out of studio for the first time in I don't know how long. Many weeks, I think. Joe Zepecki on the roads. Where are you, Joe Zepecki?
This morning finds me in Marinette.
Marinette. Beautiful Marinettes. Yeah, I like it up there.
Are you building ships today, Joe?
Not today, but we've covered a lot of ground between Lake Mills, Madison, Marshfield, Rothschild, Merrill, Chippewa Falls, Superior, and Washburn.
3 weeks
all since Tuesday.
I hope you spent money in Superior.
I did.
Did you get an Anchor Burger?
No, did not have time for that.
All right, let's get to it. So yesterday was like Elon Musk's last day. Are we missing Musk already?
Was it yesterday or is it today? There's a press conference with him and the president at 1:30.
It's been a slow burn for a couple weeks, Eastern. I feel like.
So Elon Musk had a termed employment that lasted 130 days, and that time has come. I'd say a couple things about the process. I think he highlighted things that a lot of people thought were going on with the government, but couldn't prove it. He and his team have unearthed, $1 trillion of unnecessary spending, and Joe and I, or maybe all of us, will disagree on that. I think where he was surprised was the pushback he got from the public, particularly on his other business ventures like Tesla. I don't think he expected that. I mean, the truth is politics is a contact sport. It always has been, always will be. And, my hope is that other people like him, male, female, doesn't matter, that are willing to give the government some of their expertise for a period of time that can be very helpful to all Americans, won't see this as a reason not to do it because of what they saw him go through, and will be willing to come in and help.
I've been spending a lot of time reading about Doge and people like Elon Musk. And one of the things that I think I'm going to give you credit for is there's a point of view that maybe I missed, and that's to really accomplish something, you sometimes have to come in with a hatchet.
Yeah.
And while that is painful and awkward and sometimes counterproductive, that might be the wake-up call or the shock to the system, shock and awe, as you said during the campaign.
Yeah.
That maybe could produce a formula to actually look at government inefficiencies in a different way. That maybe is the point of Elon Musk.
Yeah, and I know we're going to get to Doge in the next segment, but as it relates to Musk's, accomplishments, I think they're pretty extraordinary. Just even the outlining of these things. I know he's frustrated that none of it has passed, but the truth is none of those things can be funded as long as Donald Trump's president either. So even if the appropriation sits there, it will sit there without any, it won't get released. So there's some benefit to taxpayers for sure, but it's not a direct benefit. But I think it's important. I think where they missed a couple steps is being more transparent. I know they had their own website. I know they had a couple, national interviews with him and the team, but they could have done more of that. I think, sending out a press release a day or a week or a couple a day, at some points it seemed like there were 5 or 6 a day, is too much information at one time. And I'm not sure the public totally grasped what they were able to accomplish or unearth. And I think history is going to be good to Elon Musk for his service to the country. And, I hope we haven't heard or seen the last of him. And I know we haven't on the private side. And, hopefully he gets us to Mars.
All right, Joe, weigh in. Your opinion of Elon Musk and his Doge efforts.
It's like we're living in a different world. A drug-addled billionaire, unaccountable to anyone, was allowed to run amok throughout government, overpromised, underdelivered, and literally was apparently on drugs the whole time. The New York Times this morning, Mr. Musk's drug consumption went well beyond occasional use. He told people he was taking so much ketamine that it was affecting his bladder. He took ecstasy and psychedelic mushrooms, traveled with a daily medication box that held about 20 pills, including ones with the markings of the stimulant Adderall, according to a photo of the box. This was madness from jump. And if it had gone to the public for accountability nationwide, it would have gone about as well for him as it did in Wisconsin, where he tried to win an election by just opening up the checkbook and got roundly rejected. So I can't wait to talk about the Doge scorecard, because it is not good. And we apparently don't care if people on drugs are working for the public. I thought we did.
Bill?
I think he's being a little selective if we're going to talk about drug use here, but I don't care
what does that even mean?
Well, you guys jumped me when I brought it up when it revolved around Zelensky, and you're doing the same thing here. So I don't think that matters. I think what matters is what he did to identify excessive or fraudulent, in many cases, spending.
But what was it? Like, I feel like there still hasn't been any charges made for any fraudulent, anyone who did anything wrong. Like, that's the thing. Like, there's also all these legal battles that are still could undo what he did. But I'm saying, and maybe you're right. Maybe it's because the messaging wasn't there. But I also don't know, what was actually legally what was
he
broken?
Has said, and others have said, that there are cases before DOJ. There are two things that deeply frustrate conservatives. One is that the Congress hasn't acted on these cuts yet, and we'll get to that in the next segment. The other is, where are we at with DOJ? DOJ has been a D at best so far.
Pam Bondi not getting it done?
She's not getting it done, in my opinion.
So you're saying there's cases we don't know about.
Correct.
About over fraud.
Yes.
That are under wrap.
Under investigation, and the indictments are forthcoming.
Okay.
I said this on Twitter on our text exchange. Ultimately, the decider, the arbiter of what Doge and Musk accomplished will not be the administration. It will not be Elon Musk. It'll be journalists, real journalists who are looking at this maybe years later and saying, this is what happened as a result of this. And maybe it's nothing. I don't know. To Joe's point, maybe it's nothing. I think there's something there. We're going to find out what that something is. Lots more to get to on this Friday edition of Point Taken. She's Kristin. I'm Steve. Bill McCoshen. Joe on the road. That is Joe Zepecki. Lots more after this on 620 WTMJ.
Frondel Max Vextelando.
Why are you dressed like a wizard?
Because the Brooklyn cabinet at Penny Mustard reminds me of the hallowed halls of a faraway magical campus.
That curved top is pretty enchanting.
Curvalosa Wizamundo.
And with all the configurable options, you get to work your magic.
Configurabulus Maximus.
The bewitching Brooklyn cabinet, starting at just $122 a month, with no interest till May of 2028, through June 1st at Penny Mustard.
Showrooms in Milwaukee and Chicago.
PennyMustard.com.
Here's to the Farm and Fleet dads, the ones who take pride in a job well done, the ones who make the most of every moment and still take the time to pass it on. At Blaine's, we're here to make this Father's Day special with gifts for one-of-a-kind dads at prices that'll make them proud. Like 25% off men's Carhartt Force Pocket Tees. Select S-Wing framing hammers, $19.99. Plus, Blaine's gift cards make the perfect gifts. Find the value you need to make this Father's Day special. Blaine's Farm and Fleet. Being original.
Your first time driving a stick shift. The car, sporty. Your teacher, nervous. You've got this. Just like Associated Bank's got you with Online Activation Zone, so you can easily shift your direct deposits from your old clunker of a bank to Associated Bank in just a few clicks. You've got this with Activation Zone from Associated Bank. See associatedbank.com/checking or ask a banker for details. Member FDIC.
You may be known as the city of brotherly love.
Enjoy Philadelphia, city of brotherly love.
But with us in town, you won't need your glove.
Fly ball deep right. It's going to win the game. Abreu's going back and watching it sail. It's a grand slam.
The Brewers head to Philly to take on the Phillies.
Oh my goodness, Christian Yelich.
Our Brewers Radio Network game day coverage starts tonight at 5:10. We are the home of the Brewers, WTMJ.
Oh, yeah. Winding it up with Bill McCoshen, Joseph Becky, Kristin, Brey, Steve Scaffidi on this Friday. Point Taken is the name of the show. You can find us not only over the air, but online on YouTube. And we actually have audio and video of Mr. Zepecki, who's traveling the great state of Wisconsin.
You text WATCH to 855-616-1620. You can weigh in on what color Joe Zepecki's shirt is. Is that a salmon color that you're wearing today, Joe?
I think we should let the listeners and watchers guess, and then I'll divulge
orange
at the end of the
sherbet?
show.
I can't see it, but salmon isn't going to play in Marinette, brother. I can tell you, north of 29, that's not going to fly.
Put a black T-shirt on. All right, so we could talk about Doge, we could talk about Elon Musk all day, but Congress has a role to play, and codifying what apparently they found and are trying to accomplish in our governments is important. And I would say, and I've had an argument with many conservatives about this, I don't think Congress is doing their job.
Yeah, I actually agree with that.
I've got the report card right here.
You want to start? Go ahead.
All right, go ahead, Joe.
If I may. So Mr. Musk said he was going to find $2 trillion to cut out of government. At the end of his tenure, which is today, they are claiming to have found 175 billion. That is 8.75% of the original goal. That is a fail. And we now have every House Republican but one has voted for a bill that will add $3.8 trillion in deficit spending. It is such an abomination. Even Elon Musk has come out against this bill. So how can you say by any measure that this was a successful use of anyone's time?
Well, the number I'm aware of is $880 billion that they've saved. And by the way, any savings is a success. It's not a fail. When's the last time the government cut any spending of any kind? So that it is a success that way. As it relates to the scoring, I wouldn't worry too much about the House bill because that's not the final one that's going to pass. They cut $1.6 trillion in actual spending, the largest in 30 years. That isn't getting through the Senate. My guess is the Senate will be closer to $2 trillion, maybe $2.5 trillion, which I'm totally here for. So the bill will get better for conservatives as they move forward. As it relates to these Doge cuts, though, I think it's important to sort of track this week. Ron DeSantis, the governor of Florida, was the first guy who called it out. I can't remember if it was on Monday or Tuesday, but he basically said, hey, you guys, wake up and do your job. The next day, Trump said something about it. Then Musk said something about it. And oh, by the way, now the House is going to take up these rescission packages, is what they're called, for the Doge cuts starting next week. I'm going to make a prediction here. All of the cuts will pass the House. I'm not sure any of them will pass the Senate because there's different rules. Now we have the filibuster rule they have to contend with. The reason these are not tucked into the big, beautiful bill is they can't be. These are discretionary spending. Those no discretionary spending monies can be dealt with in a reconciliation bill. There's different rules. So they have to go through normal order, which means in the Senate they have to have 60 votes. I'm not sure they're going to get 60 votes, but I can tell you this. Any Republican of the 53 who votes against any of those rescission packages, you better watch your backside because a primary is coming.
Real quick on the big, beautiful budget bill. I know it's sort of a little bit off topic, but they've talked about getting this done by July 4th. Is that realistic, do you think?
It still is today. We'll see over the course of the next couple of weeks. I mean, these guys get so much vacation, it's unbelievable. They're finally getting back to work again next week. We'll see how close they can get over the next 2 weeks. First, you got to pass something through the Senate. So they have a position that only takes 50 plus the vice president, and then you have to have a conference committee vote in both houses. So can that all be done in 30 days? I hope so. We'll see.
But you're saying history will be on the Musk did a good job side.
I think it will. Yeah, I think most people who voted for Trump, if not all of them, say they did what they said they were going to do. They campaigned on this Doge idea. Honest to God, in December and January, Republican lawmakers were falling all over themselves trying to be part of the Doge caucus. Where are those voices now? I mean, they have no idea what's coming from Republican voters next August or whenever their primaries are if they do nothing on these things. This is the scorecard that GOP or Trump voters are looking at.
Just for what it's worth, if you go to doge.muskwatch.com, it will itemize everything that they have claimed, that the itemized cuts, and then what's actually been verifiable. So the claimed cuts are $165 billion. The Doge itemized cuts is $69 billion, and the verifiable canceled funding is $16.3 billion.
All wins.
All right.
Well, it's funny that we just treat $16 billion like nothing.
Right. No, I know, but it's
not a penny.
different than when. And well, we got to go to a break. But I actually, Well, TBD on what we're going to do next, because
All right.
I want to get. I don't know if we should move on or not, but there's
We
more
got
questions
time.
I have.
Got lots of time.
All right, stay with us on Point Taken.
You know the voice.
Fly ball, right field, out of here!
You know the iconic calls.
Fly ball, deep right! Back to back!
And you know he's our Brewers 360 guest on Wisconsin's Morning News. Every Wednesday at 8:45, it's Brewers broadcaster Jeff Levering. Brewers 360 is sponsored by Outdoor Living Unlimited and Big Fish Contracting.
Hey, it's WTMJ Steve Scaffidi for Milwaukee Weight Loss. Yes, 40 pounds. Actually, more than 40 pounds because I had my lowest day in about 15 years on the scale. It's the secret, by the way, to losing up to 1 pound of fat every day. I had that this morning. There's doctors developed easy-to-follow weight loss program. Helps you lose weight fast, naturally, safely. I'll tell you how safely. I removed sod and landscaped my daughter's yard for about 6 hours yesterday. I felt great. So the weight loss helped me be better at all the things you do every day. That's the secret. None of the gimmicky stuff. No, not drugs, not injections. It's all natural. Helps you reset your metabolism so you can keep the weight off for good. With a coach, mine's Emily, for ongoing support. Get this, costs up to half as much, works up to twice as fast as most other programs. Go to MilwaukeeWeightLoss.com, schedule your free consultation. Many patients, 20 to 30 pound weight loss in a month or two. Look at me, I did it. You can do it too. Schedule your free consultation by calling 262-449-1180 or go online at MilwaukeeWeightLoss.com. That's MilwaukeeWeightLoss.com. Results may vary.
Welcome back to Ask Hasselus.
If you could spend 1 month anywhere, where would you go?
Easy. I'd go to bed.
I mean, anywhere in the world.
Precisely.
You'd spend the entire month in bed?
Specifically, a new Tempur-Pedic from Hasselus Mattress.
Why?
Because I can take 60 months to pay for it. Through Monday, get 60 months interest-free financing on select Tempur-Pedic mattresses, plus a $300 MasterCard gift card.
60 months. That means...
You can buy a Queen Tempur-Pedic ProAdapt Hybrid with ease-adjustable base for just $74 a month.
And I get a $300 MasterCard gift card.
Free next-day delivery and employee-free showrooms, too.
So I can try and buy...
With no pushy sales guy.
Hang on.
What are you doing?
Searching for a travel agent to book a month-long vacation at Hasselus Mattress.
Enjoy 60 months interest-free financing on select Tempur-Pedics through Monday at Hasselus Mattress. Open 9 to 9. Find an employee-free showroom near you or shop online at Hasselus.com.
Maybe you don't need a new garage door. You just need to keep the door you love looking good and functioning well. Vince Vitrano for Lifetime Door Company, where they're always available to service your existing door. In the meantime, some tips from Rick Burr at Lifetime. Do not use a pressure washer on that door. It can damage the finish and paint. Do not remove parts for cleaning. Leave that to the experts. Do use a silicone-based lubricant 4 times a year. And if you need a can, stop by the showroom at 124th and Burleigh. Tell them Vinny sent you, and they'll give you one for free. LifetimeDoor.net.
All right, little time before the bottom of the hour news with Connie Weber. And for you kids out there, you youngsters, that's 10:30.
Does that joke ever get old for you?
No. Just like Hump Day's never going to get old for me because I think it's funny. And
I think it's funny.
I'll laugh forever on that one. Or you had a follow-up question.
I posed this to Steve as far as in his, him being Elon Musk, in his exit interview tour that he's doing, obviously interview with the Washington Post, he alluded to how much harder cutting $2 trillion, which was his original promise or estimate, how much harder how hard that was ended up being. But he didn't go into why that was hard. And my question is it because there isn't enough to cut without a lot of damage? Is it because of red tape? Like, what got in his way? Because he just barnstormed the federal government. So what got in his way from doing more?
So my guess on this is that he realized that this is all being done in public. If he were doing this in one of his companies, or if any other major CEO were doing this, you're doing it behind closed doors, right? You're cutting as much as you can possibly cut to let the company continue to operate and then turn itself around and then grow. In government, you can't do that. I mean, I said it last week. I'm going to say it till this bill's done. I mean, both sides are allergic to spending cuts. Allergic. And they don't like to do it. It's much easier to spend money and keep constituencies happy than it is to tell them, sorry, that program sort of run its course. It is the biggest negative in politics, in my opinion, and it's on both sides.
And here's where I got to give credit to Senator Ron Johnson because he's steadfast in saying, I'm not going to vote for this because it's not reducing the federal deficit. And until we start taking that seriously, nothing's going to happen.
So to his credit, his actual words is he's not voting for this version. Ron Johnson will be a yes on this bill, and there will be significantly more spending cuts in here.
You think it's going to be more spending cuts out of the Senate than what the House put forward?
I do.
Yeah.
And where do you think it's going to come from?
Salt. Salt will be the first place.
Okay. Joe, do you have
probably right.
thoughts on this?
I can finally hear myself and you guys without an echo, so my brain is resetting.
Great.
The shirt is orange, by the way.
All right. There you go.
That works up north.
Yeah.
Actually,
I think I
you
have
got to wear all orange up north and you'd fit in right.
Yeah,
Just right.
Bill, is your shirt from Untuck It? I believe I have the same one.
It is.
All right,
we got to make sure we
enough
don't
of the
double
promotion stuff. Let's go. You got a minute.
You got a minute, Joe.
I literally don't even know what the question was. So I was trying to fix my headphones.
Right. All right. Well, when we come back, there's been a little ping pong happening in international trade courts.
Oh, my God.
And
Every
so
day.
It now feels like the tariffs are back on.
They're on.
For now?
They're on.
So we're going to talk a little bit more about what that means, but also just the fact of what is it like to be someone who watches the market right now, someone who works in finance, because between a Truth Social tweet, what the courts are doing, any other kind of random thing that throws the market into haywire, it's a very uncertain time, to say the least.
Have you seen
It's taco time.
Yeah.
Taco time.
Oh, we're going to get to that at some point. Have you seen the length of some of the Truth Social posts now? They're like paragraph after paragraph. He used to be sort of brief and concise. President's spent a lot of time just jabbering away on Truth Social. You think he's wound up? I think that taco thing hit him hard. We'll get to that at some point in the show today. Now we got Bill in studio. Joe's on the road in, where you say, Marinette.
And he can hear us now.
He can hear us. He's got an orange shirt on, and apparently Bill's promoting Untucked shirts now on the show. Lots to get to. We have, of course, local news with Connie Weber. And if you've missed any or all of our conversation, don't forget, you can always find it at WTMJ.com or on our podcast or just by texting the word
POINT,
which is simple, P-O-I-N-T.
ABC News, I'm Sherry Preston. The Supreme Court has cleared the way for the Trump administration to strip temporary legal protections from hundreds of thousands of immigrants, pushing the number of people who could now be deported to nearly 1 million. The justices lifting a lower court order that kept humanitarian parole protections in place for 500,000 people from Haiti, Cuba, Nicaragua, and Venezuela. Former President Biden delivering his first public remarks since his prostate cancer announcement. He spoke at a Memorial Day service in Newcastle, Delaware, thanking the military.
The military is a solid spine, the spine of our nation. Our troops, our veterans, our military families, and our Gold Star families in particular.
A key inflation gauge slowed last month. President Trump's tariffs so far have not noticeably pushed up prices. The Commerce Department says American incomes jumped last month, but spending was down. This is ABC News.
Outdoor Living Unlimited, WTMJ News Time, 10:31. I'm Connie Weber. The Maxwell Anderson trial underway. Testimony today focusing on where Sade Robinson's remains were found. On day 3, detectives testified about evidence related to Robinson's burned car. Friends of Robinson also testified about shared cell phone locations with her. Arrest made in a Kenosha murder cold case from 2003. The victim's wife and her alleged lover charged with the murder of 47-year-old Navy veteran David Vanderzee, shot in the head 5 times at his home in the town of Randall. Roxana Collins of McHenry, Illinois, and John Viscosil of Genoa City, Wisconsin, each face 1 count of first-degree intentional homicide as party to a crime. Unhealthy air today. Wildfire smoke from Canada arriving ahead of a cold front. The state's mostly expected to remain at level orange. Unhealthy for sensitive groups. It could reach red. Unhealthy for most people. Department of Natural Resources recommends taking breaks if you're active outdoors. Time for news about your money. The Annex Wealth Management Market Update. The Dow is up 4 points, 42,220. The Nasdaq down 76, 19,098. S&P 500 down 13, 5,898. Financial planning at every level. Annex Comprehensive Wealth, Annex Private Client, Annex Ignite. Details at annexwealth.com. Taking a look at the roads with your WTMJ Time Saver traffic. Pretty quiet out there. We did have a disabled vehicle off on the right shoulder, I-43 north at I-794 west. That has been cleared. No major delays this hour. Here's your WTMJ 5-day forecast. Sunny, breezy, hazy due to that smoke. Scattered afternoon, evening showers and storms possible, a high 75. Showers early overnight, then partly cloudy with a low 50. Sunny tomorrow, 64 lakeside, 73 inland. Sunny and nice on Sunday, highs in the upper 60s to mid 70s. Sunny and warm on Monday, highs in the upper 70s to about 83 inland. Then Tuesday, partly cloudy, warm, breezy, a chance of a storm later on with highs 81 to 85. 65 in Madison, Green Bay, and Milwaukee this hour. I'm Connie Weber. Outdoor Living Unlimited, WTMJ News Time, 10:33.
At QC Kinetics, we're all about keeping you in the game, helping you get lasting relief from joint pain. That's why we're excited to announce that QC Kinetics is now partnering with the National Pickleball League. So many of our satisfied patients are avid pickleball players, and they're thrilled with how we've helped them get back on the court. As lead sponsor of the National Pickleball League, we're committed to help pickleball fans of all ages with the latest, most advanced regenerative cell treatments. These treatments use your body's own healing power, revitalizing and restoring damaged joint tissue the natural way, with no drugs, no surgery, and no downtime. Whether you're a pickleball fanatic or enjoy golf or running or tennis, stay in the game with help from QC Kinetics. QC Kinetics, proud to promote active, pain-free living as a lead sponsor of the National Pickleball League. Call now for your free consultation.
Call QC Kinetics, 414-285-3474. That's 414-285-3474. 414-285-3474.
Save on the best quality furniture and mattresses during the Memorial Day sale at Ken Michaels Furniture. With major discounts from our premier suppliers, you will save big bucks on top brands like Bradington Young, made in the foothills of the Great Smoky Mountains. Bradington Young is known for its fine quality leather upholstery. Fjords brings you modern Scandinavian designed recliners and sofas, ergonomically engineered for more hip and back support. Norwalk, with American roots that go back over 100 years, specializes in making furniture just for you. Choose the piece, style, fabric, or leather you want, and in just 35 days, we'll deliver your new sofa, chair, or sectional. In-stock or special orders are all sale priced. Need a little help putting it all together? At Ken Michaels Furniture, our design staff is ready to help you with your purchases. And it's free. Stop in today and save during our Memorial Day sale at Ken Michaels Furniture on Capitol Drive in Brookfield, Highway 100 in Greenfield, or our downtown Mattress Factory showroom.
Welcome back to Point Taken. I am Kristin Brey. He is Steve Scaffidi, and it is Friday, which can only mean that Bill McCoshen and Joe Zepecki are with us for our political power hour, and it is only an hour today, unfortunately. We have no overtime.
No overtime? Joe, are you advancing Sean Duffy's road trip? Is that what you're doing?
I am not, but I did notice that Secretary Duffy got in a little trouble this week, perhaps, weighing in on a Republican primary that he did not clear with the White House. Ooh. So all is not well on the political side.
Wait, what happened?
No, there's discipline in this White House coming from the great
he
Susie
is
Wiles.
supporting and trying to help fundraise for Bill Huizenga, who's running for the Senate in Michigan, and he did not clear that with the boss.
Ouch.
Well.
Yeah.
As they say.
All right.
I might be with him on that. I'm not for Rogers. I don't like the idea of keeping running guys that have lost. I think that's a bad strategy.
All right, gentlemen.
I was going to say, this is...
Tariffs.
Tariffs in the court.
Yeah, and the courts, because ultimately they're going to decide, and we'll see if the Trump administration, if the Supreme Court doesn't go his way, we'll listen to that. But, and I can tell you, we had an import-exporter on the show a couple weeks ago, I did, and I think it's causing chaos when we don't know what the rules are. And this back and forth on tariffs is absolutely insane. Bill.
So I have been in politics, mostly state, to be fair, for 40 years. Until this week, I didn't know there was an international trade court. So it appears, I've had to do a lot of research for this segment, that the Trump administration chose this particular path because it provided the most flexibility as it relates to tariffs. But it's not the only path. So this International Trade Court unanimously, 3-judge panel, said Trump went too far on his eye for an eye tariffs, meaning reciprocal tariffs. Okay, the next day, that night, Trump's people appealed it. The next day, an appellate court said, we're going to stay this order. They didn't reverse it, but the tariffs are still in place while the case is being considered. So they're not reversed. But the other path for Trump to go, should he lose this appeal, is he does have significant powers that were granted to him by the Congress or previous Congresses, not directly to him, but previous administrations, that may limit his ability on tariffs that they could only last for 150 days.
There's like several of these, and they're very technically written.
So what I don't like about it is it does impact the market from day to day. And they call them panic-ins in D.C., but you got to understand people that are nearing retirement are looking at their accounts, and in April it sucked. It was pretty bad. But in May it's really good. And in June, the hope is it's going to be better. But now we have this thing with China today, so...
Is it really good, or is it just back to where it was in March?
It is slightly above where it was in March. Yeah, so it's now heading in the right direction.
All right, Zepecki, on tariffs. Go ahead.
This, to me, gets to the defining question of the Trump administration, which is the use of emergency powers claimed by the executive branch. So we're all smart enough to understand, like, if everything's an emergency, nothing's an emergency, right?
Yeah, because we lived through it in COVID.
Right, and we have vested in the President of the United States extraordinary emergency powers. What this administration has done, which is unusual, is on both the border and on international trade, claimed emergencies are happening, and therefore the President is empowered to use emergency powers. On the border stuff, you are saying, well, it's an emergency. We're going to invoke the Alien Enemies Act because this is an invasion. And the courts are saying, hold on, no, it's not. You can say there's a crisis at the border. But there's a technical definition of emergency. Similarly, with the tariffs, he is claiming that there is an emergency and taking for himself emergency powers. What my reading of that International Trade Court's ruling is this does not meet the definition of emergency, so you don't get to use the extra special super duper presidential powers. It is very clear, and like this is not just a Trump thing. Bill and I agree on this.
We do.
Over the sweep of history, right, the executive branch has become more powerful, has taken more authorities, and the congressional, the legislative branch has had fewer. What strikes me as happening right now is the Trump administration is trying to push that line of executive authority further through claiming, emergency powers. And that is where there is the potential for a real crisis between the courts and the legislature and the executive branch. And I don't know how that's going to play out. None of us do. But that is what's happening. They're pushing the boundaries.
That's exactly the right point. It's defining what an emergency is, because that language is written into all those different places where Trump can lean on that, his administration. That's going to be the question that the highest court will have to answer. All right, after the break, was it weekend at Bernie's or business as usual in the Biden White House? That's next on Point Taken. Loyalty, family. Few things are more important. This is WTMJ's Steve Scaffidi, and Loyal Family Renovations. They saved the day after a brutal storm in Oak Creek. Hail damage, yeah, I had a lot of it. But Jeff, Jake, and the whole team, absolute pros, made the entire process smooth as can be. Let's be honest, not everyone knows how to deal with adjusters. They handle all the questions, quick answers, top-notch customer service. In just 2 days, my roof was done. If storm damage hits, call the team that made it easy for me. Loyal Family Renovations. Visit loyalfamilyrenovations.com.
Get the help you need Saturday morning with How To Radio. At 7, it's the WTMJ Fix-It Show with David Nason, featuring this week's guests, Olson's Outdoor Power Equipment and Outdoor Living Unlimited. At 9, plan your dream vacation with the Fox World Travel Show. Yet at 10, get financial guidance during Money Talk. Contact Annex Wealth Management for an unbiased review of your investments at annexwealth.com. How To Radio, Saturday mornings on WTMJ.
Arvin?
Yeah?
Ben is walking around Penny Mustard's showroom handing out cigars.
I know.
But why?
He's celebrating the new edition.
You mean?
That's right.
Have a cigar, Nicole.
Congratulations. I just heard the news.
Thanks. I'm so happy.
You should be.
Do you have a photo?
Of course. Here.
Wait, that's the Rowan bedroom collection.
I know. Isn't it beautiful?
I thought...
You thought Penny Mustard's newest bedroom would be made in the USA and tariff-free with locally sourced wood, forever-tight bed brackets, and drawers strong enough to stand on.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to say.
Look at the molding, the feet, the inlays.
The Rowan is one fine-looking bedroom collection.
Yeah, it gets its good looks from me.
The Rowan Bedroom Collection, starting at just $257 a month with no interest until May of 2028 through June 1st at Penny Mustard.
Showrooms in Milwaukee and Chicago.
PennyMustard.com.
Newer versions of what people want.
Penny Mustard Furnishing.
Pain, tingling, burning in your hand and wrist, wakes you up at night, makes life difficult. Working with your hands is nearly impossible. If that sounds like you may suffer with carpal tunnel syndrome. The problem is Medicare pays for the old open surgery done in a hospital or surgery center. And it's no walk in the park. Big incision, 6-week recovery. I mean, imagine your hands being bandaged up, unable to use it for 6 weeks. So if you want to, you can have that old open surgery the government says to get, or you have another option. An ultra minimally invasive procedure done in the office that can give you immediate relief in 15 minutes and you are back to your life in just one day. The Ovation Technique, only at Ovation Hand Institute. You've suffered long enough. You don't have to put the fix off anymore. Visit ovationhand.com and see the difference with your own eyes. ovationhand.com.
AccuNet Mortgage is an equal housing lender. NMLSConsumerAccess.org, number 255368.
At Wisconsin's own AccuNet Mortgage, our closing costs are typically $1,000 to $3,000 less than the banks or the mortgage guys with the Rocket for exactly the same rate. Find out how much you can save at accunet.com.
Welcome back to Point Taken. I am Kristin, he's Steve, and we are here with Bill McCoshen and Joe Zepecki, who is on location. All right, so congressional Republicans are now ramping up efforts to investigate the Biden administration and what staffers knew about Joe Biden's health and mental decline while he was in office. So a group of Republicans in the House introduced legislation on Thursday to create a new select committee to probe whether the Biden administration covered up signs of the former president's decline. Joe, have you read Original Sin yet?
I have not. I've been a little busy
these
last few weeks.
But how worried are you about this? And who do you think was actually in charge if Biden was not?
I'm not that worried about it. Presidents do things all the time by executive order that they don't go out and talk about. That is the choices of governing, right? This uproar over, the auto pen was governing. Who was controlling the auto pen? When you are the executive, you sign a bunch of executive orders, and then you make choices from a communication standpoint, a strategy standpoint about which ones you make your message of the day or your message of the week. How do we know this? Donald Trump has not said a word publicly about bringing Palantir into government as a result of an executive order he signed to do data work on Americans. Does that mean that Donald Trump isn't the president and they're covering up some big... No, you make choices. And so the reporting looks very bad for Biden and the people around him, and they have to answer for that. And if Republicans want to spend time looking backward and exploding the deficit, that's the choice they're making. I don't think it's a particularly good political one, but it's not my job to give them political advice.
The book Original Sin makes the claim that there's a group of people around the president, Joe Biden, including his wife, First Lady Jill Biden, Mike Donnellan, Steve Ricchetti, Bruce Reed. Did you ever meet any of these people? Because some have been around Biden for a long time in his sphere of influence.
I met the entire Biden family in December of 2007 when Joe and Chris, my boss Chris Dodd, were running for president. So that was a long time ago.
All right. Well, I had conversations with Joe Biden, then vice president, in the 2012, 2013 timeframe, and that Joe Biden was with it, and he could carry a room for an hour if he wanted to, uninterrupted, without any notes. That's not what we saw at the end of this last administration. So as someone who's not a Democrat and never voted for Joe Biden, I am concerned that we potentially had a situation, Joe, and I ask this in all seriousness, where a president of the United States wasn't up to functioning in all the ways that a president has to function, cognitively, physically, and it was covered up. That's not a good story. What was the movie made about? Was it Dave? About the president who had a look-alike president? Yeah.
Great movie, by the way.
Awesome.
I've never heard of this movie.
This will come out. I think, as we all understand, the first draft of history is always revised later and updated. Listen, my candid assessment of this is that the greatest sin of Joe Biden and the people around him was not that he was too old. It's that for 4 years he was incapable of communicating with the American people his agenda, his priorities, and what he was doing. We abdicated the bully pulpit, and if the people around Joe Biden, bear guilt for that or overdid it, like, that upsets me greatly, and I don't think it rises to the level of some kind of crime.
I think the notion of congressional investigations has sort of lost its way. This isn't the 70s. This isn't Watergate. I've seen Democratic Congresses, Republican Congresses, have all this fanfare about investigations that end up nowhere.
Look at the January 6th. Right?
I don't think that's their role. Here, I'm going to get to this really quick. I think Congress's role is to update the ethics laws. And I'm going to give you a very specific example. One of Joe Biden's top aides is a woman by the name of Anita Dunn. For some reason, there is a loophole in the ethics laws in D.C. where you can actually work in the White House. You can be a senior advisor to the President of the United States and not disclose a single thing about any of your investments as long as you make less than $132,000. And oh, by the way, the investment she has a partner in a lobbying firm in D.C. and did not relinquish that role. I am a lobbyist. I can tell you that is the definition of conflict of interest. That is corruption on its face. And I think there will ultimately be indictments. So Congress's role here is not these stupid investigations. It's update the ethics law, let DOJ do their job.
Everybody Google.
Did Elon Musk disclose all of his financial holdings because he was making less than 100? Right? Like, then it's got to be across the board, Bill. Like, don't sit here and dunk on Anita Dunn.
Transparency, 100%.
Both sides. Everybody Googling Anita Dunn right now because I didn't know that name. All right, after the break, is it Taco Friday? That's be my grab bag.
It is Friday.
But my grab bag is Taco Friday.
All right.
See what I did there? Kristin, Steve, point taken.
I'm here to help. This is your WTMJ Fix-It Show host, David Nason, with expert advice for our listeners. If you're dealing with leaks, stains, or cracks in your basement, it's time to call my trusted friends at Accurate Basement Repair. And you know what? You'll get a free expert evaluation on me. You just tell them David Nason, the Fix-It guy, told me to call. Don't let basement issues mess up your home. Trust Accurate Basement Repair to get the job done right. And again, that's Accurate Basement Repair, 414-744-6900 or AccurateBasementRepair.com.
Why settle for just the job when you could have a career in the exciting automobile industry? The Auto Dealers Association of Metro Milwaukee new car dealer members have service, technician, sales, administrative, and management positions available now. The first word in career is car, and one of the best places to find a great career opportunity is at an Adam new car dealer.
For current great paying job opportunities, visit adam.jobs. That's ADAMM.jobs.
I'm WTMJ's Sandy Max. What makes senior living at Three Pillars so special? Let's hear from my friend Pam.
Good friends of ours moved there, and they had invited us over for dinner a number of times. And they said, we waited way too long. You should come when you're younger. They had no idea it was going to be this great. There are just so many things to do, and it keeps you young. I mean, we have a lot of residents who are pushing 100. I believe they're there and still alive because of Three Pillars.
Schedule a tour today at threepillars.org.
It's the weekend. Take your family to the historic Fox and Hound Supper Club for a free dinner. I just might do that. WTMJ's John Mercure here. The all-you-can-eat fish fry is fabulous. I love the perch. All other dinners are buy one, get one free, including the pecan-crusted salmon, the pan-fried walleye. They've got new items on the dinner menu. Enjoy your favorite steak, seafood, pasta, even steak and lobster, prime rib on Saturday, all of that. Your second dinner is always free. Sip on an old-fashioned. They've got over 20 bourbons and 100 wines. And that old world bar, it is so fun. You'll love the Fox and Hounds all you can eat Friday fish fry. All other dinners are buy one, get one free this weekend. Just off Highway 167, 2 miles east of the famous Holy Hill Shrine. The drive, the views, the kettle moraine. Spectacular this time of year. Now serving lunch on Saturdays from 11 a.m. till 2. The all you can eat Sunday brunch is magnificent. Tables are open. Call and reserve your free dinner or check it out. foxandhoundsrestaurant.com. It's the famous Fox and Hounds.
Church and Chapel Funeral Homes. Dignified services with less expensive fees compared to other fine funeral homes. Church and Chapel Funeral Homes. There's one near you.
You may be known as the city of brotherly love.
Enjoy Philadelphia, city of brotherly love.
But with us in town, you won't need your glove.
Fly ball deep right. It's going to win the game. Abreu's going back and watching it sail. It's a grand slam.
The Brewers head to Philly to take on the Phillies.
Oh my goodness, Christian Yelich.
Our Brewers Radio Network game day coverage starts tonight at 5:10. We are the home of the Brewers. WTMJ, W277CV, and WKTI HD2 Milwaukee from the Annex Wealth Management Studios. This is News Radio WTMJ, a Good Karma brand station. All right, since we got most of the politics out of our systems, let's finish up with some grab bags.
All right, Joe Zepecki. What is in
I got a fun one this week.
Okay, let's hear it.
This is what a baby country we are. Harrison Ruffin Tyler, the last surviving grandson of John Tyler, the 10th president of the United States, died on Sunday at age 96. He was the last of 3 generations that spanned nearly the entire lifetime of the United States of America. When his grandfather, when President John Tyler was born, George Washington had just become president. Rest in peace, Harrison Tyler. I think it's important to sometimes reflect on just how young a country we are. Most of us know our grandparents. Not everybody gets that opportunity, but I just thought that was a neat one to remind folks how young we are in the grand sweep of time.
Historian Joe Zepecki. How about that?
Those are some good genes in that Tyler family.
Yeah, seriously.
Man. All right.
Mine is a hat tip to a couple former Badgers who were inducted into the Badger Hall of Fame this week. The ceremony is later in the summer, but the two are, on the basketball side, it's Frank Kaminsky, who is my favorite Badger of all time. No offense to your father. Pete.
That's your favorite.
Yeah. He
Frank's
got us
fun.
to 2 Final Fours, including 1 national championship game. He changed the Badgers forever, and we're able to recruit so much better since he was here. So, hat tip to Frank Kaminsky. And then the other is my business partner, Joe Pavelski. Joe Pavelski from Plover, Wisconsin, won a state championship at Spash High School. He won a junior A championship for the Waterloo Blackhawks in the USHL. He won a national championship for the Wisconsin Badgers the last time they won it in 2006 right here in Milwaukee. What eluded him throughout his 18-year professional career was a Stanley Cup. He got to the finals twice, was able to go see him play in Pittsburgh one night and in the finals, and he did score a goal that night, but they did not win the series. So Joe had a remarkable career. Many say he's one of the top 10 best American-born players of all time. He also has a silver medal in the Olympics. So hat tip to my good friend and business partner, Joe Pavelski. He owns the Janesville Jets with me, if I haven't said that recently.
You haven't. You've been getting away from the hockey references. Big fan of Plover, Wisconsin, by the way.
Yeah.
Right in the center of the state, growing all those potatoes.
Isn't that where the world's largest potato masher is?
It is.
I think so, yes. And I have relatives that work in that business, so I'm very excited about going up there this summer. All right, so we all heard the taco stuff. Trump always chickens out. I'm going to take this a different story. It does ruffle his feathers, to use the chicken term. But what I'm fascinated by, and we talked about this yesterday, and we actually made a post about it. Can reporters...
Oh, lost his mic.
I lost my mic there. Can reporters grow up hair? I mean, why do you just sit there and if he challenges you, him being the president of the United States, come back at him. The worst thing that can happen is they kick you out. Somebody else comes and replaces you. Big deal. So what? Show some whatever. And
backbone.
Yeah, come on. That's how reporting used to work. And this idea that he yells at you, you sort of shrink back in your chair, that's not journalism. Ask the tough questions. If he fires back, you ask an even tougher question that ruffles his damn feathers even more. That's my grab.
Asking someone what they think of taco is not a tough question.
That is not a tough question.
I don't think so.
That's an easy response.
It's the first that I'm hearing of this. All right, here's mine. Who wants to take a stab at spelling eclaircissement?
No.
Nope.
Nope, no one? That was the winning word for his name is Faizan Zaki, who is he was the runner-up in 2024 for the Scripps National Spelling
nice
Bee.
way to come back.
He won this year for the 100th celebration. Eclaircissement.
What does that mean? Yeah, what does that mean?
What does it mean? I just had it up.
ECLAIRISMENT.
Do it again?
Eclaircissement.
Say it again.
ECLAIRISMENT. Eclaircissement.
I think you got it.
Cissment.
But there's a hyphen. ECLAIRCISSEMENT. Did you get it? You missed an S.
No, I was off by one letter. I made one of these C's and S's.
Not hyphen, apostrophe.
Apostrophe.
Accent.
Okay.
But it means a clearing up of something obscure.
And credit that Wisconsin kid who finished 10th, by the way. That's
there
pretty
you go.
impressive, too.
We'll take it.
All right, so we'll do it again next week. I think Bill's going to be off for the week, but Joe Zepecki may be back in studio. Always a great hour with the two smartest gentlemen in the room. Oh, we're not too bad.
You're not
either.
too bad.
We're fine.
Yeah,
We hold our
Kristin
own.
and Steve.
We're the better looking
Kristen's
ones.
great.
It's fine.
Oh, I heard that, Joe, and you hurt my feelings. All right, we'll take a quick break for news. Another hour of Point Taken with Kristin and Steve coming up after the news. Hey, this is WTMJ Steve Scaffidi. Don't miss Capri Community's Enjoy Life Active Aging Symposium on Wednesday, June 4th at Elmbrick Church in Brookfield from 8:30 to 3 p.m. This is a free and fun event for older adults 55 plus that celebrates active aging, featuring speakers like John McGivern and Jennifer Bartolotta, exhibitors, goat yoga, speed friending, raffles, food, music, and much more. Make the day your own. Pre-register at enjoylifesymposium.com. That's enjoylifesymposium.com.
Hi, I'm Rose Gray with Fox World Travel, and I'm excited to share that our exclusive guided Alaska land and sea journeys are now available for 2026. We partner with Holland America Line to curate the best and most sought-after experiences to Alaska. We send hundreds of travelers from Wisconsin to Alaska every year, along with experienced Fox tour managers for peace of mind. Don't just picture Alaska, live it. We have limited spots, and these tours are booking fast. Visit Fox World Travel online or call 866 Go Fox Go.
Your nose is for breathing. Your mouth is for eating. And if you're breathing through your mouth, it's not because your body wants to. It's because it has to, because your nose isn't working properly. And although you've lived like this, it's no way to live, and it's having a significant impact on your life. I know you know this, and I know that taking action isn't always convenient. But at Advent, we've done all we can to make changing your life for the better as easy as possible. I'm Dr. Madan Kandula. With tens of thousands of our patients, a thorough nose and throat evaluation, along with a simple 20-minute in-office procedure called balloon sinuplasty, has opened their nasal passages, allowing them to breathe freely through their nose for good. And there's a good chance this procedure can do the same for you. We'll help you breathe through your nose again, and it will change your life.
Go to adventknows.com to schedule your appointment, because Advent knows when you breathe well, you live better. Most insurance accepted.
For over a century, local radio has evolved with the needs of the community. From politics to pop culture, we keep you informed, bringing you the most relevant news, online, on air, and on the go. You have trusted us with your news, sports, weather, and entertainment. Trust us to keep moving with you. Text radio to 52886 and tell Congress local broadcasting is here to stay.
Protect your liver and give it the support that it deserves with Active Liver from New Nordic. Find in stores at your local CVS, Meijer, grocery, Amazon, or newnordicusa.com.
Built Right Furniture, Leather, and Mattress.
You gotta get to Built Right today.
Ah, the city of brotherly love. Hope you don't mind if we add to the chaos.
Jackson Churio, driven, left center. See you later.
Our Brewers Phillies coverage starts tonight at 5:10. We are the home of the Brewers. News Radio 620 WTMJ, Milwaukee.
11:01, we have 66 degrees, sunny, breezy, hazy today, scattered afternoon and evening showers and storms. High today 75. From the WTMJ Breaking News Center, I'm Connie Weber. A key win for the Trump administration in its efforts to roll back legal status granted to hundreds of thousands of migrants by the previous president's team.
The court's move allows the government to move forward with its plans to end parole protections granted by the Biden administration to some 500,000 migrants who fled Cuba, Haiti, Nicaragua, and Venezuela. Two of the court's liberals dissented, with Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson writing that the majority threatens to unleash devastation, upending the lives of more than 500,000 people. It follows a similar action by the High Court earlier this month that affected more than 300,000 Venezuelans here on temporary protected status.
That's ABC Stephen Portnoy here in Wisconsin, doubling down on a motion to dismiss.
Lawyers for Milwaukee County Judge Hannah Dugan have filed a memorandum arguing her federal prosecution is not allowed. Dugan was indicted on charges that she helped an undocumented immigrant evade ICE agents at the courthouse. The memorandum expands on a motion to dismiss the case filed earlier this month, and Dugan's team says it's based on 4 centuries of legal precedent. They're arguing Dugan has absolute immunity for official acts in her courtroom, and she cannot be charged for them. Sean Brunda, WTMJ News.
President Trump and Elon Musk will hold a news conference in a couple of hours. Musk departing the Trump administration after heading the Department of Government Efficiency's effort to get rid of government waste. In a post on Truth Social, Trump said it's really not Musk's last day because he will always be with us, helping all the way, and called him terrific. Potentially damaging testimony today in the Sean Combs sex trafficking and racketeering trial. The mogul's former personal assistant, Mia, telling the jury Thursday about Combs sexually assaulting her many times. Attorney Bernarda Villalona told ABC News.
Mia has been an excellent, strong witness for the prosecution. I would say, because I've been in the courtroom, she's been one of the most emotional witnesses who's testified.
Day 4 of the homicide trial for Maxwell Anderson underway. Testimony thus far focusing on where Sade Robinson's remains were found.
You located a total of 3 separate pieces of human remains, correct?
Yes, that is correct.
First witness called at the stand, Milwaukee Police Detective Casey Donahue, one of the first responders to find some of Robinson's remains close to a playground near her burned-out vehicle, 31st and Galena, on the city's north side.
The smaller piece of flesh was approximately 2 by 2 inches. The larger piece of flesh was approximately 6 by 6 inches.
Here's 138. What is that cone down there?
That's going to be evidence marker number 11.
And do you know what number 11 was?
Yes, number 11 was a human foot.
Trial expected to last 2 weeks. Wisconsin Department of Transportation takes one step closer on making a decision for 794 in their recent proposal presentation to members of the public. Milwaukee resident Heather Hill says she sees what could change with the city if the route is removed, but says residents should be careful how they choose.
So I think it's important to get everyone's point of view. And, even if you are for the removal, look at how that might affect somebody else. It's not just about one person, it's about a whole entire community.
The DOT will have another public information meeting this fall and aims to begin construction on the 794 project as early as 2030. Time for news about your money. The WTMJ Annex Wealth Management Market Update. Dow is down 54, NASDAQ off 128. The S&P 500 is down 24. Financial planning at every level. Annex Comprehensive Wealth, Annex Private Client, Annex Ignite. Details at annexwealth.com. Sports, traffic, and weather are next. Outdoor Living Unlimited, WTMJ News Time, 11:05.
Nobody loves a deal more than Dad, so make him proud and shop Fleet Farm for his Father's Day gifts at the best prices guaranteed. Like a Charbroil 3-burner gas grill for just $149.99. Or how about a Craftsman V20 half-inch cordless drill driver kit for $49. And whether he's grilling or drilling, help him look good with Carhartt Force tees for 25% off. For more of the hottest Father's Day deals, stop by your local Fleet Farm or check out our latest weekly ad at fleetfarm.com.
What would your community be like without UW-Madison? The UW is one of the country's leading hubs for supporting life-changing research. UW-Madison helps make a healthier Wisconsin, build strong businesses, and win the war for workforce talent, not just in Madison, but across our entire state. Visit uwalumni.com/UW5 to tell your legislators to support UW-Madison in the Wisconsin state budget. That's uwalumni.com/UW5. Paid for by the Wisconsin Alumni Association.
I've been playing sports all my life. Little football, basketball, pickleball, cross training, mud events, Spartan races and things like that.
For Dr. Eric Williams, a successful chiropractor, staying active means everything. So when nagging knee pain slowed him down, he didn't want drugs or invasive surgery. He found a natural way to get lasting relief. QC Kinetics Cellular Therapies.
We're using my body's natural abilities to get better. And that's huge. In time, that's going to be the way of the future. Using your own body's ability to heal. Now I can play day to day and not have that severe pain.
Now he's back out there doing what he loves, thanks to QC Kinetics.
Life is good. You're not going to slow me down.
Leave the pain behind and get moving. Book your free consultation today with QC Kinetics.
Call QC Kinetics, 414-285-3474. That's 414-285-3474. 414-285-3474.
Time for a WTMJ Sports Update from the Gruber Law Office's One Call That's All Sports Desk. Brewers back on the road tonight. Milwaukee begins a road trip with the first of 3 games against the Phillies. Packers return to the field today for their final practice of the week. The team begins mandatory minicamp June 10th. And the second round of the U.S. Women's Open underway at Erin Hills. Taking a look at the roads now with your WTMJ Time Saver traffic. Just a disabled vehicle. This is going to be on the exit to Barker Road from I-94 West. So if you are headed that way and need that exit, know that there is a disabled vehicle on that exit ramp. Here's your WTMJ 5-day forecast. Sunny, breezy, hazy today. Scattered afternoon and evening showers and storms. High 75. Showers early tonight, then an overnight low of 50. Sunny tomorrow, highs in the mid-60s to lower 70s. Sunny on Sunday, highs in the upper 60s to mid-70s. Monday, sunny and warm, 79 lakeside, 83 inland. Then Tuesday, partly cloudy, warm, breezy, but chances of storms late Tuesday. Highs 81 lakeside, 85 inland. 67 in Madison and Green Bay, 66 in Milwaukee. I'm Connie Weber. Outdoor Living Unlimited, WTMJ News Time, 11:08.
Broadcasting live from the Annex Wealth Management Studios at the Avenue. It's time for Point Taken. Here are your hosts, Steve Scaffidi and Kristin Brey.
All right, the last hour of the week, Steve and I getting into it. What are we getting into now? We're going to be talking about, week. Are you?
Yeah. No, not really. It was a short week.
You're exhausted from yesterday because you were moving sod for 6 hours.
Moving sod and moving big trees and bushes, but it all turned out great, my daughter's landscaping project. But you know what? I'm a big fan of the 4-day work week.
I was going to ask. We didn't cover that topic on Tuesday when we came back from the long weekend, and I didn't know how you felt about it. I kind of assumed that you were going to, as a policy, as other countries are exploring, or I think other companies are exploring 4-day work weeks, I kind of thought you would not be a fan.
Yeah, so here's
the classic conservative in you.
Yeah, I know. That's sort of Oh, come on. 5 days a week, 8 hours. Yeah. No, here's my offer. Extra hour Tuesday through Friday, off on Monday.
Oh, for our show?
Yeah. It satisfies both things. An extra hour, but also a 3-day week.
So you make Viddy and Eric do 5 hours and the day do 4?
Yeah.
I don't think any of them are going for that.
On Monday.
Just put the best of on Mondays for us.
Whatever.
No, but that actually is an interesting... I mean, I love the idea of a 4-day work week, especially as you look at every productivity assessment of how much more productive we've gotten over the decades, even over the last 100 years. So our output is more, and yet we're not working any less. And now it's going to be even more so with the inclusion of AI into workflows. So why not have one more day to kind of get your life together?
Here's a prediction. In 20 years, 4-day work weeks will be the norm.
You think so? You think it's coming?
In our country, yeah. Yeah, maybe less.
I don't know.
Hell, with AI and robots, maybe a 1-day
We're
work
such
week.
a capitalist society that tries to maximize work and just really wring out every hour of effort that we can from people.
It plays to a lot of different parts of the conversation about where America's at, and one of those is mental health. And I think having a 3-day weekend improves the mental health of this country.
I absolutely agree with that.
Which sort of segues into what we're going to talk about, because, I've been reading a lot about the economy and inflation and we've talked about cost of living and purchase of homes. And I don't know where I was at last night looking at something, and I saw the average price of a home in the United States is, I think, $416,000 now. And you've made this point to me on several occasions, on several different conversations, that it's almost out of reach for a major piece of our population, both in this state and in this country.
Not almost, is.
Well, there are still people buying homes, so you can't say it is out of reach.
No, but for a lot of people, it is.
And I'm looking at some of the notes for the show, and 1 in 4 people in this country now saying they're not making a major purchase, including a home or maybe a car or something else really big. And I want to be optimistic. And I see some of the numbers that came out this morning. Inflation, is dipping a little bit, which is good. And the numbers in some ways look good. The markets seem to be rebounding, in some ways surpassing the lows of, Liberation Day and beyond. And then I saw, I see the stories that say that there are people struggling in this country still. And I don't know that there's an easy answer for this, but I do know this, and this is sort of why I wrap it around from our conversation earlier with Bill and Joe. The idea that we're going to have a different story on tariffs every damn day of the week so that consumers ultimately, and I just had this conversation on the text exchange, that Right now, it might not be impacting people, but there's a slow train when it comes to tariffs. We see imports drying up, and we know that's happening because all the ports in the country are seeing less traffic, especially from China. We see less product on the shelves or availability on like the Amazons of the world. That means the supply goes down and the demand will stay strong for a while, but it impacts the prices. And, ultimately inflation will catch hold when we don't have things that we want to buy or things that we do want to buy that we can't afford. That will change the dynamic. So tariffs, this sort of willy-nilly, one day it's on, one day it's off. I said this many times. This will anger all the people who get mad at me when I criticize the president. The president doesn't have a basic understanding of what tariffs are or what this sort of back and forth is doing to our country, or probably more importantly, could do. It's dangerous. And you want to screw up our economy, or you want to put us in a recession, I think this is the piece, the tariff back and forth, along with some other really inconsistent policies, is not a good thing. Now, the president would argue, well, the courts are doing this. They're shifting back and forth. It has to be decided at some point, this is what is going to be the rule. And I think Congress has to, this is where the Congress piece steps in. They have to say, this is our responsibility, Mr. President, to set these tariffs, not yours.
But I also feel like there's a lot of things being conflated in that, as far as, one, the average home being $400,000 is very expensive, and that has nothing to do with tariffs.
Sure.
I mean, maybe the prices are going to go up because if there's tariffs on lumber and different materials, which is a factor.
New home construction.
But this has been a trend for a while as far as what the average home cost is compared to like what people's wages are, and it being way out of whack from when you first bought your first home, which was what decade?
The 90s. No, before that, 80s.
80s. So so it's a little different now as far as I think back in the 80s, it was something like 2 years worth of annual income was basically what a house cost now.
Yeah.
Now it's 4 to 6x of how many years of your annual income, the median annual income buys a house. So that's separate. There is uneasiness and unknowing about the tariffs. And then there's also just interest prices in general. Like I was saying before the show started, I have a friend who's a real estate agent, and I saw him on Wednesday. I go, how's the market right now? And he said it's still crazy. I mean, he had a $100,000 over asking price in cash get declined.
Yeah, it's
in
insane.
Milwaukee.
It's insane.
And so I'm like, who is making an offer that much above asking price with interest rates like this? Like, this is just, it's
what it
crazy.
is? The answer to that question is people closer to my age than yours. They're often, they're coming out of a relationship. They're, a split. They have assets. One person's buying a house. One's doing something else. That's in the homes that I know people recently that have bought homes. It's that situation.
That are in their 60s?
No, in their 50s. I said closer to me, not in my actual age. But thanks for pointing out my age again.
You're not ashamed of your age.
I'm 66.
Yeah.
I'm proud of being 66. I think this is something we're going to have to pay attention to because as it gets harder and harder for people to have that basic dream, right? It used to be buy a house, raise your family, have the house with the picket fence yard. I don't think anyone puts picket fences up anymore. Very few people. You landscape. You put the
Put
deck.
a badger fence up now.
Yes, badger fence. Thanks for that mention. I think we have to pay attention to that. Now, I will say that as someone who was known as a development mayor, we were told when I was leading Oak Creek that people wanted to rent, so we built those units.
Well, who told you that?
The developers. Which is sort of a bias.
Because when would it ever have been fallen out of favor for people to, I mean, obviously as you're building your life, renting is like a necessity.
You want to know what the anecdotal answer to that is? People who don't want to do yard work.
But then buy a condo.
Yeah.
Because that's the other thing. Developers basically stopped making as many condos.
Yeah. But when you stop building affordable homes, which is what happened for at least a decade. And you want an answer? Start building affordable homes that start about $250,000.
And also are not massive houses.
Exactly.
That's the thing.
Right.
Whenever I drive, and then we got to go to break, but like whenever I drive around Milwaukee, Wauwatosa, and thinking about all of the development of these houses in the mid 20th century, and they're very modest houses, right? And it's just like the houses you see built now, like our brand new homes on newer developments, are all just like way too big. Not way too big, but just like a lot bigger than they used to make them.
In the 60s, they built homes that were all 1,500 square feet or lower. Now, yes, the starter homes are $2,100, $2,400, $2,900. That's a significant difference. And the builders will say we can't make money on those. Find a way to make money on a smaller home and build more of them, because that's the answer to the question. We've got to take a break here. Another piece of this story is how people feel about this country and living here. We'll discuss that, Kristin and Steve. Point taken on 620 WTMJ next. What if you could lose up to 1 pound of fat every single day at Milwaukee Weight Loss? They've got the secret, and it's helping people shed serious weight fast. Hey, it's Steve Scaffidi from WTMJ. I've been on the Milwaukee Weight Loss program since January and currently in the maintenance phase after losing, get this, 40 pounds. It was fast, easy, and safe, and I'm sticking with the incredible team at Milwaukee Weight Loss to keep the weight off. Their doctor-developed, easy-to-follow program helps people lose weight naturally and safely with no drugs, no risky injections, no meal kits, no shakes, no exercise required. It's not just about losing weight. It's about resetting your metabolism to keep it off for good with personal coaching every step of the way. And guess what? Their program costs up to half as much and works up to twice as fast as most other programs. Many clients lose 20 to 30 pounds in just a month or two, up to 1 pound of fat a day. Book your free consultation now at MilwaukeeWeightLoss.com or call 262-449-1180. That's MilwaukeeWeightLoss.com.
It's Gina Della. You've heard me define what makes Pella Windows and Doors different. Let me introduce you to the woman behind the billboards, commercials, and share my extraordinary journey of resilience, reinvention, and shattering glass ceilings every Saturday morning at 6:30 on 620 WTMJ and anywhere you stream podcasts for What's the Difference with Gina Della to discuss business coaching across all industries, featuring successful executives, entrepreneurs, and mentors along the way. This is a story you won't want to miss.
Hey, WTMJ's John Mercure here. I've got a great idea for how you can spend part of your Saturday. Hang out with us on Experience Wisconsin every Saturday, 1 o'clock. I love the show because it really highlights the people, places, the flavor of all the great stuff that's happening in our state. On this week's show, we've got some special guests in some of my favorite parts of the state. We will head to the Northwoods, Rhinelander, gearing up for summer. That's going to be fun. Oak Creek's Marshall Ware, it's much more than just IKEA and possible Buc-ee's. And we'll head to Stevens Point. It's Experience Wisconsin on WTMJ.
You know, Chris, we were talking about, people trying to make ends meet, trying to buy a house for the first time. Interesting story I found. It's one of when I had my own show, I used to do this piece on Study Finds.
Yeah, you love this site.
I love this site, studyfinds.org, if you want to see what I'm talking about. They have all kinds of different categories, science, wellness, food. But this one has to do with a survey they did. It was Talker Research did a survey about people planning, actually, to move out of country because they don't like it here. 5%, according to this survey, are taking steps to actually move out of the country, live abroad in the next few years. 2% have already started that process. And I actually have met people that have done this on my trips.
Okay. Where'd they move to?
Italy, Tuscany region, 2 of them.
How hard is it to move to Italy?
Not hard.
You don't have to be, is this people who are retirement age, so they're not worried about work?
Yeah, they're usually my age.
Okay.
Yeah, or retirement age, yes. So it's not hard. And here's the you were talking about the cost of homes. It's cheaper to buy property in other countries. Their taxes are often lower, not exclusively, but often lower, which is sort of weird.
Well, especially because you get so many more services.
Yeah, and you work. And then
I guess you're not paying for the military.
Yeah, maybe that's it. And their food's better. Cost of living is much cheaper. And I've said this before.
You sound like you're talking yourself into it.
Well, my plan is to do it a couple months a year. I'm probably not going to relocate to Italy, although Tuscany calls me every day. Well, maybe Scotland will call me because it'll be
the weather in Scotland. You can't convince Kathy of that.
Yeah, the growing. I don't think I can grow tomatoes up there very well.
I have no idea.
So that would be a negative. But I'm curious about this because I think it shows that there's still, as optimistic as some of us are about this country, there's a group of people saying, you know what, I'm not liking where this country's going. And I think that's something we got to pay attention to.
I would say almost all of my friends who are in marriages where one of the spouses is not American, they have very serious conversations about leaving the country.
Yeah.
So I have friends who, one is Australian and the other is American. For now, they live in San Diego. And I think realistically, they will probably end up in Australia. Another friend who she's British and he's American. And they often talk about moving to the UK. And for them, a big reason is they have small children and they're worried about guns.
Yeah, I mean,
that becomes a very big part of the calculation. Is like, sending your kids to school here and just how scary that is these days.
It's interesting on that topic of guns that there's two extreme sides, right? One that says more guns, the other one says, what are we doing here? And we never have any really reconciliation of those two extreme ideas into anything that makes sense given the rules of the land of America, right? Second Amendment.
Mm-hmm.
And the reality that we face every day when people are being killed for no real reason other than the fact there was a gun handy and they decided to blow someone's brains out. I mean, that's the confounding thing about what I thought used to be the genius of this country, why I worked for at least 10 years on gun violence. I don't get it. With rights comes responsibilities, and this idea that we don't have to think about that, we should think about it every damn day, because people shouldn't die for no reason, and that shouldn't be your first recourse is to pick up a gun.
Because I would say the other thing is certainly healthcare, and that at any point you get sick, and it could be a sentence to be like going bankrupt. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of things we're not crushing it on. I know yesterday you were still very gung-ho on it being the best country in the world. And
I still think that.
I asked you for how to measure that, because I would say there's other countries that are the quality of living for the average person, it's much higher.
And I was thinking about this last night because you asked me that question yesterday, and I used to say opportunity. But when you see people who come here to learn now being turned away, often the brightest minds in the world, who can't come and study here because they don't, they're not from here, they're others, that sort of removes that piece of
But there's also been a plateauing of generations doing better than their parents.
Yes.
Right?
And
So
we have to fix
there
that.
is not the same upward mobility that there once was for people like boomers, as far as the much more likely to stay in the same class of which you were born.
Yeah, we have to get on the show as a generational expert that looks at all the distinctions between the classes, but actually takes that...
Classes or generations?
Generations, rather, and then takes that information and makes sense of it for us. I think
Data visualization expert?
Yes. Wow, you just pull it out of your hat? Out of your head?
What?
What did you call that?
Nothing.
Data visualization?
A data visualization
Very
expert?
Impressive. All right, we got to take a break here. Lots more to get to on the remaining 40 minutes or so, 35 minutes. Don't forget, bottom of the hour news coming up with Connie Weber and, of course, ABC, but we got to take a break here.
You may be known as the city of brotherly love.
Enjoy Philadelphia, city of brotherly love.
But with us in town, you won't need your glove.
Fly ball deep right. It's going to win the game. Abreu's going back and watching it sail. It's a grand slam.
The Brewers head to Philly to take on the Phillies.
Oh, my goodness, Kristin Yelich.
Our Brewers Radio Network game day coverage starts tonight at 5:10. We are the home of the Brewers, WTMJ.
Hey, this is WTMJ. Steve Scaffidi for Annex Wealth Management. Trade tensions, tariff headaches. We just talked about that. Keep markets on a wild ride, making personalized financial planning more crucial than ever. At Annex, help is only a call or a visit away. Tailored to fit your life, not your neighbors. Whether you're weighing every option, sizing up investments, or diving into annuities and pensions, their team has your back. No cookie-cutter plans here. As a fee-only fiduciary, Annex skips the commission chase, focus purely on what's best for you. Their lineup, it's impressive. CFPs, CFAs, CPAs, PhDs, wealth strategists, and attorneys, and I've talked to them all, bring serious expertise to tackle your goals. Maybe you're puzzling over when to claim Social Security. Looking to trim your tax burden, always a good goal, or one of your investments are pulling their weight. Retirement brings big decisions, and it's easy to miss a step. Annex Wealth Management jumps in to guide you through helping your plan stay sharp and steady. Ready to get started? You should be. Know the difference. Visit AnnexWealth.com. Take the first step today. Annex Wealth Management.
Save on the best quality furniture and mattresses during the Memorial Day sale at Ken Michaels Furniture. With major discounts from our premier suppliers, you will save big bucks on top brands like Bradington Young, made in the foothills of the Great Smoky Mountains. Bradington Young is known for its fine quality leather upholstery. Fjords brings you modern Scandinavian designed recliners and sofas, ergonomically engineered for more hip and back support. Norwalk, with American roots that go back over 100 years, specializes in making making furniture just for you. Choose the piece, style, fabric, or leather you want, and in just 35 days, we'll deliver your new sofa, chair, or sectional. In stock or special orders are all sale priced. Need a little help putting it all together? At Ken Michaels Furniture, our design staff is ready to help you with your purchases. And it's free. Stop in today and save during our Memorial Day sale at Ken Michaels Furniture on Capitol Drive in Brookfield, Highway 100 in Greenfield, or our downtown Mattress Factory showroom.
It's WTMJ's Debbie Loziga for Comfort Awnings. You've heard me talk about the wonderful retractable awning the team at Comfort Awnings installed at my home. Well, spring is here, and it's the perfect time for you to get an awning installed on your porch, deck, or patio just in time for the beautiful weather. Comfort Awnings is a local family-owned company in Burlington that provides expert installation in southeast Wisconsin and northern Illinois. Right now, you can receive $150 off your purchase. Call 414-AWNINGS or visit comfortawnings.com to learn more.
Oh, Kristin, I'm going to Hawaii in November of 26. Yes.
I did not.
Fox World Travel.
It's the first I'm hearing of this.
866-GO-FOX-GO. First you're hearing of it, really. Now, if you wanted to go, you could probably go, but you'd have to pay.
I'd have to pay, but who's going to do the show?
Well,
I got to man the ship.
We get somebody to fill in.
No, that's the new rule.
New rule.
We can't take off the same days.
We were chatting during a break about, other than like the Pearl Harbor thing, which is a really important part of this trip. And I'd love to have you join me. We only have, I think, like 14 spots left. So you better sign up quick because they're going to sell out soon. And we're like way in advance of when we're actually going on the trip. I'm actually looking forward to the luau. I've never been to a luau.
Well, why would you have ever gone to a luau if you've never been to Hawaii?
I don't know. Don't they do them as like fun party things around the...
I mean, there's like a luau themed things,
yes.
but it's like
I've never been to anything
luau.
like that.
I feel like you got to do it in Hawaii.
You told me you had been to a luau on occasion.
Yeah, so I was at the opportunity. We got to travel because my dad worked for Merrill Lynch, and so there was always like, you hit a certain amount of sales or whatever. And so we were really lucky growing up. And so I got to go to Hawaii a couple times as a kid. And then there was a basketball tournament because when we lived in Los Angeles, my dad coached for Brentwood High School, and there was a basketball tournament in Hawaii. So, but it's been almost 20 years since I've been there.
All right, so what goes on at these luau's?
There's performers, and so there's dancers. There's like fire breathers. There's obviously hula dancers. They always roast a pig.
Which I like.
There's a lot of tiki torches.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's like a party.
Yeah, so our group are going to have our own luau.
Great, that's awesome.
I'm looking forward to that.
Are you going to hula dance?
Probably not. I'm not a dancer. I'm a singer.
You don't dance with Kathy?
If she asks me to, I will, yes.
Okay.
Because that's the right thing to do. But I want to sell this trip out so we can start planning our pre-trip party that we always do. We put everything together in like a...
Are you guys doing the Road to Hana?
I think so.
That's fun.
Yeah.
So you'll see in some incredible beaches. We did that, and there's a black stone, like a black sand beach with just the smoothest stones you'll ever remember. So we don't have the time for the story.
All right, we can get it next time because I'm going to talk about it every day
That's
anyway
true.
for a while.
That's
Best
fair.
of the Hawaiian Islands with yours truly. It's November 9th through the 19th next November. 866-GO-FOX-GO or foxroadtravel.com. Group vacations. Easy to find. After the break, interesting topic that you threw into the old mix.
Movie incentives.
Yeah.
Both in Texas and in Wisconsin.
All right. Local news with Connie Weber. Before they get to that, ABC.
ABC News, I'm Chuck Severson. Upended the lives of thousands of immigrants in the U.S. who fled Cuba, Haiti, Nicaragua, and Venezuela. The Supreme Court again clearing the way for the Trump administration to strip temporary legal protections while the case plays out in the courts. Yet another federal judge ruling the Trump tariffs were likely illegal, but for now, they are allowed to continue. Update on the Trump-Harvard feud from ABC's Selena Wang.
Secretary of State Marco Rubio announcing the U.S. will work to aggressively revoke visas of Chinese students, including those with connections to the Chinese Communist Party or studying in critical fields. The Trump administration has already accused Harvard of failing to confront anti-Semitic harassment and claims the school has coordinated with the Chinese Communist Party. Allegations Harvard denies.
President Trump and his special Mideast diplomats submitting a new ceasefire and hostage release plan with Israeli backing. This is ABC News.
Outdoor Living Unlimited WTMJ News Time, 11:31. I'm Connie Weber. Day 4 of testimony in the Maxwell Anderson homicide trial is centered around the Milwaukee police detectives who found Sade Robinson's remains scattered across a park on Milwaukee's north side. Detective Casey Donahue is the officer who found Robinson's severed foot near 31st and Galena. On the north side, parts of the young woman's body were eventually discovered scattered across southeastern Wisconsin and areas of northern Illinois. Another deadline looms for Milwaukee Public Schools. MPS must submit financial reports to the Wisconsin Department of Public Instruction or risk losing money. State's largest district faced backlash and a loss of state funding last year after it missed a reporting deadline that resulted in the withholding of more than $16 million that was earmarked for special education funding. The district has also missed 2 previous deadlines for this round of reports. Wisconsin can expect unhealthy air today. The reason might feel like deja vu. Wildfire smoke from Canada arriving ahead of a cold front. The state's mostly expected to remain at level orange and healthy for sensitive groups, but it could reach red, unhealthy for most people. Time for news about your money in the WTMJ Annex Wealth Management Market Update. Markets are down now off 259 points, 41,955. NASDAQ down 297 at 18,880. The S&P 500 down 61 at 5,850. Financial planning at every level. Annex Comprehensive Wealth, Annex Private Client, Annex Ignite. Details at annexwealth.com. Taking a look at the roads with your WTMJ Time Saver traffic. Still working to clear that broken down vehicle. This is going to be on the exit to Barker Road from I-94 West. No other snags to report on the freeway system this hour. Here's your WTMJ 5-day forecast. Sunny, breezy, hazy today. Scattered afternoon and evening showers and storms. High 75. Showers early tonight, then an overnight low of 50. Sunny tomorrow, 64 to 73 inland. Sunny and nice on Sunday. Highs in the upper 60s lakeside, 75 inland. Sunny and warm on Monday, 79 to 83 for the highs. And partly cloudy, warm, breezy. A chance of storms late Tuesday. Highs 81 lakeside, 85 inland. 67 in Madison and Green Bay, 66 in Milwaukee. I'm Connie Weber. Outdoor Living Unlimited, WTMJ News Time, 11:33.
Haven't you just had it with overpriced, overrated fish fries? Don't pay $16 or more. The Mine Chef restaurant in Hartford's all-you-can-eat haddock fish fry is $7.99. WTMJ's John Mercure here. After a long week, don't cook. Relax with a cold beverage and a Friday fish fry for $7.99. The kids' menu starts at $3.99, and they can safely play in that huge game room away from the dining area while you finish up your meal. The Mine Shaft is super family-friendly. Your Saturday steak or prime rib dinner is under $25. Sunday brunch is under $15, far less than what you'll pay elsewhere. The Mine Shaft in beautiful downtown Hartford and near the EAA in Oshkosh. Lots of seating, close parking, and a very friendly staff. Just walk in today for your all-you-can-eat beer-battered haddock fish fry for $7.99, serving from 11 a.m. Get there early. It's big food. It's big fun. It's the Mine Shaft. Check out mineshaft.restaurant.com.
Slide into your neighborhood Century Food Store to score the freshest produce, tastiest treats, and everything in between. Now through Wednesday, save on 9-ounce selected varieties essential everyday potato chips, 2 for $4. 3-count selected varieties Marushan ramen noodles, 4 for $1. 64-ounce selected varieties Sunny Delight, 2 for $3. 12.8 to 18.8 ounce selected varieties Jimmy Dean breakfast sandwiches, $5.49.
Let's get some strawberries.
Attention shoppers. Safe.
Okay. Ooh, pineapple fulfills every need.
While you're shopping, a drive way back, it's a gunner.
There's something goofy going on with the PA.
Need a price check and I'll take me out to the ball game.
See, what is going on?
You're hearing things. We're at Century Foods, and you can't take your mind off winning that ultimate baseball fan sweepstakes.
I'm hoping to throw out the first pitch at a Milwaukee baseball game.
Or attend batting practice.
Or hold the finish line ribbon for the racing sausages.
You don't say.
The ultimate baseball fan sweepstakes at Century Foods. Enter on Century's Facebook or Instagram by July 30th.
I feel like we're going to talk about the movies not yesterday or the day before, and then Bill brought up Mission Impossible in one of the breaks, which I do want to see.
What movie was I talking about?
I don't remember now.
With Lilo and Stitch?
Yes, Lilo and Stitch.
Yeah.
What context was that? We were
because
talking.
The
big weekend.
The record weekend, yeah.
Yeah, that was on Tuesday.
Yes.
After our long weekend.
Yes. All right, so I thought this was interesting.
It is interesting.
Because it kind of ties back to Wisconsin as well. But not only are they considering it, but it just passed the Senate. So Texas lawmakers, there was a bill championed by natives, Texas natives, Taylor Sheridan of Yellowstone fame. Actually, he's like the new Shonda Rhimes. He's got a million different shows out there.
He's a billionaire now.
Woody Harrelson and Matthew McConaughey.
All right.
So the original bill would offer $1.5 billion, billion with a B, incentives to attract TV, film, and video game production to Texas. But the bill, and I'm trying to find, so I just checked, and yesterday it passed the Senate. So now this bill is moving forward to Governor Abbott's desk, but it ended up being about $300 million per year every 2 years until 2035. The original bill was asking for $500 million every 2 years, so it's probably a little bit shy of that $1.5 billion. But this is what I need to go research now, because when they were talking about this is what I thought was interesting. The strings attached to the bill were that any work that's made in Texas under the incentive would not be able to portray Texas negatively.
Okay, that's just stupid. So
who's the arbiter of that? Who gets to decide what is or is not portraying? Like, can you not make any jokes about Texas? So, like in Yellowstone, did you watch the show?
I know of the show.
So there's a character on Yellowstone who's a ranch hand, and it's a woman. And so most of the ranch hands are like, they're kind of nomads, but she's the one from Texas, and she has an almost indecipherable accent. Like, trying to listen to her speak is just like, I'm sorry, what? It's like trying to listen to characters in the movie Snatch, of like Brad Pitt's character.
Yeah.
So it's like, is that in making fun of Texas accents? Is that portraying Texas negatively? Or is it like, who would decide that?
I have no idea. And it's sort of an interesting concept. So yes, you can make a movie here, but it's got to be positive about what we're doing. How do you do a story about a mass murder? And last time I checked, a lot of mass murderers grew up in Texas, or at least come from.
A lot of serial killers from Wisconsin too. So that's a question.
Okay, so you can't do the Ed Gein story from
which that's already happened. I think it's out. Is it the new one, the Monster series?
Yes.
With is it out?
It's been done numerous times.
Well, no, I know, but there's a new one in it's the third chapter of the Netflix series, because they did Dahmer, they did the Mendez brothers, and then they were doing Ed Gein.
Yeah, in Plainfield, Wisconsin.
2 out of 3 in Wisconsin.
Would like to forget that story, and of course the Dahmer story still lives on. And our friend Eddie Schwartz is, probably written the definitive book on that. I don't see how you can possibly do that. You can't limit the freedom to cover a story or to report a story in context of a movie. So unless you have some specific rules about the types of movies, maybe, I don't know.
Let's apply it to Wisconsin. So if people wanted to, because we're going to come back and talk about the status of this Wisconsin incentives, but what could you or could you not do? Like, of the things that were supposed to be taking place in Wisconsin, so if we think of that 70s show, how many of those jokes would have to be cut as far as poking fun at Wisconsin?
Well, just the accent itself is...
They didn't have any... I feel like on that show they didn't do the accents very much.
No, they didn't. They didn't try. But there are accents.
Same thing with the Jon Stewart movie when they did... That came out in 2020. That was kind of a bomb. But their accents were... They didn't even say Wisconsin correctly.
No.
Can you think of... So what else?
In a negative sense?
Yeah, like what would be the line for...
Well, probably anything that depicts us as like drunken, weekenders.
But there's a lot of people who enjoy that image of us. A lot of people who take a lot of pride in that.
There are people that still, on Facebook, I just saw this recently, still take pride in the fact that we have the drunkest counties in the country, apparently.
Oh, yeah.
And we're the drunkest state. Like, why are you hanging your... So that kind of a depiction would probably not be welcome if our state indeed went down this path.
A film office.
I know we're going to talk about this next segment. We're actually trying to do this.
I hope we do.
We had the guest on your show.
So let's take a break quickly, and we'll come back and kind of give an update for where we are of potentially bringing film incentives back to Wisconsin. But if you have an idea, what would be the line for Wisconsin if we were to give incentives for films and TV shows to be filmed here? What could they not do or say about Wisconsin if we had that same rule as Texas? So stay with us. 855-616-1620. Stay with us. This is Point Taken.
At Erickson's Landscape Supply, we have durable, maintenance-free polywood patio furniture and #1 grade treated natural pine Amish-made patio furniture. And we also have a wonderful assortment of concrete benches, statues, and fountains available in a selection you just gotta see to believe. Erickson's Landscape Supply, high-quality mulch and stone for a whole lot less. plus a whole lot more. Commercial or residential, visit ericksonslandscapesupply.com to see our entire selection or stop on in today. He told us to load 4 yards into his 8-foot bed, but we knew that 3 full, honestly measured yards were going to fill his truck bed to the rim. After we proved that, he told us the other guys had been telling him he's been getting 4 yards in there for years. Honest measurements and honest folks who just want to do you right. So you come back. Erickson's Landscape Supply. High quality mulch and stone for a whole lot less. Commercial or residential, visit ericksonslandscapesupply.com to see our entire selection.
Hey, it's WTMJ Steve Scaffidi. For Advent, snoring, tossing, and turning restless nights to sleep does not have to be your reality. You could do something about it. I did. 5 years ago, I went to Advent. 30-minute visit. They put me at ease. They answer my questions. Now, everyone's different problems, different solutions. For me, sinuses, nasal passage, and my breathing triangle. They did a short procedure in one of their offices. We also added a really simple sleep study at home in my own bed. Breathing better than ever. More importantly, sleeping through the whole night for the last 5 years, not bothering my poor wife, Kathy, with my incessant snoring. If you struggle like I used to, take the time to see what Advent can help you. To find out how breathing well and sleeping well can make your nights better, go to adventknows.com and schedule an appointment today, because Advent knows when you breathe well, you live better.
Stop feeling embarrassed about thinning hair and start looking and feeling your best with Hair Grow by New Nordic. Available online at Amazon, Walmart.com, and NewNordicUSA.com, or at your local CVS.
It's the weekend. Take your family to the historic Fox and Hound Supper Club for a free dinner. I just might do that. WTMJ's John Mercure here. The all-you-can-eat fish fry is fabulous. I love the perch. All other dinners are buy one, get one free, including the pecan-crusted salmon, the pan-fried walleye. They've got new items on the dinner menu. Enjoy your favorite steak, seafood, pasta, even steak and lobster, prime rib on Saturday, all of that. Your second dinner is always free. Sip on an old-fashioned. They've got over 20 bourbons and 100 wines, and that old world bar, it is so fun. You'll love the Fox and Hounds all-you-can-eat Friday fish fry. All other dinners are buy one, get one free this weekend. Just off Highway 167, 2 miles east of the famous Holy Hill Shrine. The drive, the views, the kettle moraine, spectacular this time of year. Now serving lunch on Saturdays from 11 a.m. till 2. The all-you-can-eat Sunday brunch is magnificent. Tables are open. Call and reserve your free dinner or check it out. FoxandHoundsRestaurant.com. It's the famous Fox and Hounds.
Lots of good texts today. People are responding to our movie locale. Should it be in Wisconsin? What would be the things that they shouldn't talk
Could or
about?
could not say.
Yeah. We got a call. You want to take a call?
Sure.
From my favorite city. Steve from Oak Creek, welcome, sir.
Thank you very much. And if you're going to be filming in Wisconsin, then you must say something negative about Illinois.
That's fair. I think that is a good one to bake in there.
Yeah, I think that's a good. Any other suggestions before we send you off into the world of the day? That's it. That's all you got, Steve. You weren't quick enough, buddy. I gave you the opportunity and you didn't seize it. Seize the day.
All right. Well, when you filled in with me this was in April, I want to say.
Yeah.
We spoke to Suzanne Jerva and Nathan Deming, who are both part of Action, Wisconsin. And I say it like that because there's
I forgot to wear my
exclamation
T-shirt
point,
today. They gave me
in the group's name. But at that point, there had been Governor Evers' budget had been proposed, and he had a film office and tax incentives in his budget. Since then, there actually has been a bipartisan bill introduced in the Senate and the Assembly talking about this as well. So maybe, just maybe, we might be getting closer to seeing some movies brought back to being filmed in Wisconsin. To me, this feels like a no-brainer.
Remember, wasn't Dillinger, a lot of that filmed in
a lot of that was filmed here.
Johnny Depp.
But you see, so here are some of the numbers as far as you just were asking me this, and it's a good plug for our You Need to Listen podcast because does it really count when Top Chef is that to count as it still counts under the umbrella of making TV and movies here. They're filming on location. There's crew that gets wages and people there's
It does fall under the umbrella of reality TV. I will stomach that one because it's about food.
No, but I'm saying you're asking why would it if it would qualify
if that
for
number's right,
incentives?
$4 million, absolutely, it does qualify.
But so the point being that the cruise 2-month stay resulted in hotel night stays generating $4 million. And so that doesn't even include the food and stuff that they were doing as far as an economic boost. And then we now see people are now coming to Wisconsin because they saw it on Top Chef. In Georgia, which has a thriving film industry, there was a 2023 study that found for every dollar invested in film and television incentives, there was a $6.30 economic benefit.
Yeah, it's real. That's why I support the action effort.
Okay.
And if it is truly bipartisan, let's get it done. What's the problem here?
I don't know.
Evers, LeMahieu, Voss, et al. Get it done. What's the problem? It's not that difficult. Now, I will say this about the Top Chef stuff. This was
going back.
This is my critique. We love when they come here and show us in our environment. Like we love that the draft was here and hey, Green Bay, blah blah blah. We tend to glamorize that, and there's always this hometown piece that always just makes me sick at some point. We're so proud. It just gets overdone. Just celebrate they're here. You don't have to keep doing it every damn day for like weeks and weeks after they're gone already. It was done well. Let's move on. Let's move on to the next thing. I don't want... It's
what
like
are you talking about? Who are you referencing?
The fascination we have with Top Chef and our local participants. Yeah, they're great. Dan, great restaurant. Loved all that stuff. But here's the problem. It's kind of like the same story with 82 Brewers. We're still talking about that damn thing. Move on. And we're still talking about Top Chef.
I feel like we talk about it in the context of, look at how this was a net positive across the board.
It was a positive,
and
yes.
This is why we should invest in trying to attract more things like that to come here.
We need more. That's why this is a good idea, but we need
I feel
more.
like it's used as a reference point, not as the good old days.
Good old days. Remember when Top Chef was
reliving
here?
our high school glory.
Exactly. Glory days a la Bruce Springsteen.
I feel like that's very different than the 82 Brewers.
I don't think so.
It also is much more recent than the 82 Brewers.
It's definitely more recent, but it's this fixation we have on just, oh my God, they were here in Wisconsin.
I also don't feel like I've really heard anyone talk about the draft since the draft has been over.
Do you listen to sports radio at all?
No.
Oh, you should.
Why?
Because they talk about the draft still.
That does not feel like a very compelling reason to listen to sports radio.
Well, there's a lot of reasons not to and a lot of reasons to listen to sports radio. Because you want to hear about bad takes, listen to sports radio. God bless them, the folks that do it, but it's the worst of bad takes.
You think any of them say that about you?
Of course. Yeah, of course.
Do you think any of those guys listen to us?
Oh, I know they do.
Yeah?
Alex, what's his last name?
Strouf.
He listens.
To the show or to the podcast?
Probably the podcast because he's busy during the day, but he does listen. Somebody said we don't want to hear about cheeseheads in any of the product, which is also a thing that we do.
All right, if we don't want to hear about this is the thing. Who is the arbiter of this? Because you don't want to hear about cheeseheads, and yet there are some people, no matter what the international event is, whether it's the Olympics last summer, that was last summer, or when I was in Brazil for the Packers game, there are people who will travel with their cheesehead and wear it proudly at these events. And those are not easy things to pack. Those don't compress nicely into you're making room in your limited space in your suitcase to be able to pack and wear that cheesehead. So some people I think would have a problem with that.
Let me wrap this all together in a nice with a little bow on it. The only time I've ever worn a cheesehead in my life was at the time when I attended the draft in Las Vegas, and I was in the inner sanctum, and they gave us cheeseheads because we were on TV a lot. That's the only time I've ever worn a cheesehead. And I was proud to wear it there because that was for some reason. But we're fixated on ourselves for all the dumb reasons that people are fixated on
I need to
themselves.
look back and see if I have a screenshot of you
I'll
on
send you-
TV.
I'll send you.
Because I want to make that your contact photo in my phone.
No, you are not doing that. She's Kristin. We're having too much fun on this Friday. Oh, it's Friday.
It's Friday. We can have fun.
This is the day to have fun because this is going to be a good weekend. I'm going to have this one. I know we're late for break. I'm going to have at least 2 cigars this weekend.
Oh, what's the deciding factor if you're going to have a third?
Probably not 3.
Okay.
Just one this afternoon, one tomorrow afternoon. Sunday I got a lot of stuff to do. Going out to dinner twice.
Ooh.
Yeah. Hey, Papa Luigi's in Cudahy. I will be there tonight. And my friend who you've met, Chef Fecker, I'll be at his restaurant,
Nice.
Il Mito, tomorrow night.
Right. We'll talk about my weekend plans on the other side of this.
Yeah. You got some?
I do.
All right. That's all coming up on the big show. Point taken. 620 WTMJ.
Hi, I'm Eric Brown, owner of Outdoor Living Unlimited. This Saturday on The Fix-It Show, I'll be available to discuss any outdoor projects that involve building your own backyard oasis. Outdoor Living Unlimited is Wisconsin's #1 TimberTech decking installer, so anything decks and more. The more part, outdoor kitchens, pavers, retaining walls, screen rooms, and these new automated pergolas that double as a screen room. Just amazing. Tune in this Saturday, or if you can't wait, stop by our Outdoor Living Unlimited showroom and let's start your next project.
Hi, I'm Rose Gray with Fox World Travel, and I'm excited to share that our exclusive guided Alaska land and sea journeys are now available for 2026. We partner with Holland America Line to curate the best and most sought-after experiences to Alaska. We send hundreds of travelers from Wisconsin to Alaska every year, along with experienced Fox tour managers for peace of mind. Don't just picture Alaska, live it. We have limited spots, and these tours are booking fast. Visit Fox World Travel online or call 866 Go Fox Go.
Our goal is to provide patients with the strongest, most effective, and safest options in this exciting field of regenerative medicine.
Dr. Mitchell Scheinkup, National Medical Director at QC Kinetics.
The idea that you can avoid a joint replacement is very exciting.
And that's from a surgeon who's done thousands of joint replacements, but who now believes there's a better way.
Regenerative medicine, as we understand it today, gives lasting pain relief, improved function, without surgery, without drugs.
Under Dr. Scheinkup's leadership, QC Kinetics medical professionals treat patients every day with the most advanced protocols in natural biologics. Literally tens of thousands of people all over America.
I've been doing research on regenerative medicine for 2 decades. This is the future of medicine.
Call QC Kinetics for your free consultation.
Call QC Kinetics, 414-285-3474. That's 414-285-3474. 414-285-3474.
The countdown to summer is on at Heiser Automotive. And guess what? You're getting employee pricing on new Ford and Lincoln vehicles. But wait, we are making it even better. Get double the employee discount on remaining new 2024 models. Yes, more savings equals more fun. And with our exclusive Safe and Sound experience, you'll get roadside assistance for life. Whether you're cruising to the lake or hitting the open road this summer, we've got your back. Don't miss these deals. The summer fun starts at Heiser. Visit HeiserFord.com today.
See dealer for complete details since 5/31/2025.
Get started with your no-hassle refi checkup by clicking on the blue button at Accunet.com.
The Brewers Radio Network salutes all those who serve or have served our country.
This is WTMJ producer Jocelyn Snell, and I would like to shout out my grandfather, Sylvester Kocher, who served in the Pacific in World War II, and my uncle, Thomas Snell, who served in Vietnam. There is not a day that goes by when I don't think about the service they did for our country.
Salute the Troops is sponsored by Discount Liquor, Mission 94 Firearms Education Center, and Great Midwest Bank. WTMJ, W277CV, and WKTI HD2 Milwaukee. From the Annex Wealth Management Studios, this is News Radio WTMJ, a Good Karma brand station.
Oh, yeah. Welcome back, 11:54, 620 WTMJ. She's Kristin, I'm Steve. Smooth jazz on this Friday afternoon. How y'all doing out there? What are you doing this weekend, Kristin?
We have the big Locust Street Festival this weekend on Sunday, including the beer run, which still has 66 spots open.
And you're not running.
I'm not running. I am pouring beer. So
Interesting.
This is a Swarm event. So Swarm is my husband's company.
Yeah.
So the Locust Street Beer Run, it's a 46th annual. It's a 1.6-mile run through the streets of River West.
How long is the run?
1.6 mile. It's like
that's
that.
easy. It's a short
And so there's 4 different beer stops.
Which one are you at?
The first one.
Okay.
So I'll be up there pouring beers.
So people can actually have you pour their beer.
Yes. Yes.
Will you engage with them?
I mean, it's a race, so it depends on how fast you're running. If you're not trying to be
well, if they're slow and they want to just
first,
chat.
Yeah, they are. Well, because there's some people walk it, some people run it, some people walk it.
Any
But
strollers?
A lot of strollers. I think Jeremy and Janine won the stroller division last year.
Okay.
It's an unofficial title, but he was the first one. He thinks he was the first one to finish while also pushing a stroller.
Nice.
So that is, if you want to still register for that, it starts at 11:30. If you go to locuststreetfestival.org/beer run, you can register for that. So that'll be really fun. And then the rest of the day is the festival on Locust Street, which is always really fun.
I've never been to that.
Do you want to come?
I can. I'm busy on. That's Sunday, right?
That's Sunday.
Yeah, I'm going to be in Illinois.
And the weather's going to be beautiful.
It's supposed to be like
always
70.
Helps.
Yeah, sunny.
Yeah. So
Well, good job. It's always nice when the weather like cooperates with these outdoors because having your husband, you know how important that is.
I do. He hates nothing. He hates more like Mark Baden, one of the nicest humans you're ever going to meet.
Superhuman being.
And every time there's a live event, like he's involved also. He does Storm the Bastille for Bastille Days. And there's ever the like insinuation and the scare, as he calls them, scare tactics, that a storm is coming and then it doesn't actually come. He just curses those people, including Mark Baden.
Because they're planting that seed.
Yeah, he's like, you're ruining this. The seed didn't even rain, and now no one's here.
Well, they're saying that today it's going to rain, but I'm looking at this weather map of the state, and there's like nothing. So pop-up showers is what they call it.
Yeah. I actually might go to a farmer's market tomorrow, too.
Those are always fun.
I don't know which one I will go to, but I'm going to... 'Tis the season.
There's a lot of good ones, including Oak Creek, Drexel Town Square, every Saturday morning. And they have great popcorn popped right there. Oh my God, it's like theater popcorn. I love it. All right, great week of shows, shortened week. Again, big fan of the 4-day work week, so I'll throw that offer out there. We'll do an extra hour, 4 days a week. Kristin, have a great weekend.
You too.
Happy bartending. Happy whatever I'm going to be doing.
Happy cigars.
Yeah, happy cigar day. I just looked at them. They're ready to smoke. All right, a quick break for news, and then, of course, the midday show. Who knows what they're going to talk about? Find out after the news on 620 WTMJ.
This is Matt Meitner, owner of Sit Means Sit Dog Training. Do you find yourself talking to your dog but feel like she's not listening to you?
Bella, sit!
Are you constantly repeating yourself but she's not following your directions?
Sit! Sit!
Frustrating, isn't it? At Sit Means Sit Dog Training, we want to help you have a happy, confident, and obedient dog, and we also want to make the training process an enjoyable and worthwhile experience. Contact Sit Means Sit today to schedule a free consultation so we can create a customized training program so you are able to have the dog you want and deserve.
Sit Means Sit Dog Training. Sorry, we don't train husbands, wives, or kids.